Hi, my name is Sarah Johnson, and this is my application for the Mark Anthony Wine Sales Development Program. All right, kicking it off with why am I passionate about wine and building my career in the industry. I'll start off by letting you in on a little secret, which is that I never actually used to like wine or understand the pull that brought my family and friends into liking it. However, upon entering my first year at Queen's, I took an international business course, and one of our deliverables was to do a case on the globalization of the wine industry. Right off the bat, upon discovering this case, I realized how interesting the industry actually was. We touched on everything from the early dominance of France in the industry to the impacts of climate change today, and I found that it was so much richer and so much more interesting than I initially intended. Then, when I was living on exchange last semester, I was living in Norway, but my best friend lived in Bordeaux, so I had the opportunity to visit twice. One of the times that I got to visit was actually the open door weekend for Saint Emilion. So we had the opportunity to go and we toured 4 wineries in one day, all for free. We got to meet with the owners and the families and learn about the history of each of the wineries and have these free tastings. And it was through this that my interest really developed into a passion. Not only did I actually start to love the taste of wine, but to truly see the beautiful locations and each of the rich history that went behind each of them. And this really leveraged my passion into an appreciation for wine and the history of the industry as a whole. So what excites me about working in the guest-facing role in the Okanagan Valley this summer? Something about me is that I love doing things. I know myself pretty well and can confidently say that I'm a tactile focused learner. I also love people. I love talking and being social. And with that being said, I also love leveraging my learning and taking what I've learned in class and applying it in person, which is something that I believe that I can do with each of my interactions with clients and with other members of my team, really all over in all aspects of my life. I've also been a server before. I served at a golf course and I thoroughly enjoyed it. One of my favorite parts about being on the golf course was the opportunity to be outdoors. That was really a cherry on top for me, and I can only imagine how in the valley this would be the case upon looking at all of the pictures and all of the beautiful aspects of it behind. I also, in the summer, have done other opportunities. I've had 3 previous internships in marketing, so I'm super excited to take things on to the sales lens while leveraging my work upon many different industries in marketing. In terms of my degree and my program, as I mentioned, I am currently a student at Queen's Commerce at the Smith School of Business. What initially allowed me to enter Queen's was what actually drew me there initially, which was the application process. So something that is really important to the Queen's admissions is not just your marks. So Queen's isn't looking for a student who can sit and study all day and get the highest marks, but instead a more 360 well-rounded student with interests and passions outside of school. So for me in high school, this looked like being on student council. I was on 3 serious level competitive sports teams, one of which was at Team Canada level. In addition to participating extremely in the extracurriculars at my school, I was the head of student council and on many other clubs. I was very busy at school. I also had 5 external jobs at high school. So I loved being busy, and that really drew me to the program, the fact that they valued that and saw that as an asset. And since being at Queen's, I've really loved the hands-on aspect of the program. We have small class sizes and I love speaking in them. I also love clubs. I'm on 3 at Queen's, one of which I was the co-chair of. And sports, I'm on the inner tube water polo team here at Queen's. I also love how the program has provided me with a 360-degree lens. I don't have a major, and although I'm passionate about sales and marketing, feel as though I will leave the program with full knowledge of each of the aspects of business. And lastly, I knew that Queen's is by the water. The water is my happy place, so I love being by the pier and going for walks outside, along with swimming in the water. Even now, I went for a swim today in November, which I'm pretty proud of. In terms of the best teams that I've worked on, as I mentioned, I was on Team Canada for rhythmic gymnastics, and the group of girls on the team were super hardworking. We spent most of our time together, which really leveraged and allowed us to form deep interpersonal connections and relationships. And what actually made it so great was not this, but in fact, the fact that we always used to lose. I did gymnastics for 16 years, and I only won probably about 4 competitions in those years. Our team was not very good. We actually used to lose all the time. But this made it great because as we learned, it started to hurt less and less. And it also allowed us to really learn how to celebrate the little things in life. I learned a lot of resilience and just about creating my own definition of success. At the end of the day, looking back, I realized that it was not really about the color of the medals on my wall, but instead in the life lessons, growth, and positive impact I was able to make on myself and on others along the way. So that was my favorite team. In terms of great customer service, to me, this really means that you are in control with how the customer leaves upon feeling. Will they go home feeling happy, like they've gained, like they've had an enjoyable experience? Will they leave feeling fulfilled? Or will they go home disappointed, feeling like something was missing, upset, or worse? Not only does it impact their willingness to return, but also their word of mouth and reviews, along with just providing them the value they intended out of their money and time. So for me, one example when I've seen this leveraged in real life is actually so random because it was when I was out for dinner in Kingston, which is a relatively common occurrence for me. I go out for dinner quite a bit. And actually, this day ended up being super cold, and I made the mistake of wearing a dress, which was extremely unfortunate once we arrived, and the server had informed us that there was an error, and unfortunately, we would have to sit outside on the freezing cold patio. So she really didn't have the environment in her favor in terms of customer service. But what she ended up doing was running across the street and purchasing packs of hot chocolate so my friend and I could have a warm drink to sit and drink outside, which was so wholesome. It just made the experience so much better for us. She was so bubbly, so happy, so positive that although the food was not that good and the conditions of the freezing cold were not that comfortable, we left feeling so beyond happy just at the fact that they had been so kind and so thoughtful, and she was so sweet. We felt truly cared for. And so that was what made it so memorable, was just really the attention to detail, the personalization, and going above and beyond to make sure that we felt cared for and thoughtful, even though the environment was not naturally in our favor. In terms of the best trip that I've gone on, my 6-month exchange in Norway, I don't know if it's cheating for me to call it as a trip, because personally what made it so good was that I really got to indulge in the lifestyle. I loved how in Norway everyone was so happy all the time, so active, so wholesome. I have never had the opportunity to this extent to learn more about myself, others, and life as a whole. I truly had the opportunity to push myself. I joined the school running team where I did a 3-day race from Bergen to Oslo. I also ran a half marathon through the mountains and did a 42-kilometer hike of 7 different summits in one day. I also joined the local Norwegian yoga studio, and I did not speak Norwegian, so this was an interesting challenge, but I felt like it was so awesome to be welcomed into such a wonderful culture and really feel as though I could experience that even for a short period of time. It made me truly love the experience. That, along with just traveling around Europe as a whole, made it honestly the best 6 months of my life and really gave me the itch to travel. It's one of my favorite things, and just learning about different cultures and truly feeling welcomed into them to me is such a special, beautiful thing. If I was a sales representative with Marc Anthony and I was to do a pitch, I would first introduce who I am and who Marc Anthony is and what really differentiates Marc Anthony from everyone else and what makes them special. I would also first start to develop the genuine connection with the store manager, leveraging my interpersonal skills and my various previous experiences to try and find some common ground and solidify that connection. I would also take time to assess where they're at in the process, also what kind of manager they are and what kind of person they are, and really, once again, use that to my advantage. I would also truly believe in the product and how it can help, mention the details and differentiating factors of the product, how it's devilishly bold and delicious, and encourage them to go on and be a devil to explaining how it can benefit them and their store location. I would then switch gears to the buyer, answering any questions that they have, and setting up a tasting if I feel as though it is needed. Personally, I believe what makes me the best candidate for the wine sales development program is my energy. I've always been told that I am a kid at heart and have passion without fail. With this being said, I also understand that this is a piece of positive feedback, and I'm also super receptive to negative feedback because I love learning. I believe that I'm a lifelong learner. I truly love opportunities to learn, and as I mentioned, I'm a tactile learner, so feel as though I could really benefit off of the program at Marc Anthony. Not only do I feel as though my energy would be an ample opportunity to bring value to Mark Anthony, but I feel as though my encouragement and passion about learning would help me thrive in the program as well. Thank you so much for listening to my video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to hearing from you shortly.